Seadale, which was coming up but never developed because of crossing of the railway. But I think at one time there was talk of putting a tunnel underneath, not just a pedestrian tunnel, a proper road, when that would have developed. But however, yeah, they kept all the best bits, and they sold them off, which is good business. Are we all right?
Yeah, okay, yeah. I'll tell you when we
Right.
get to the end.
Yeah, they were very good at that, and they sold the Hundred estate to Sir Dennis, what was left of it, Sir Dennis Reddit Bailey in 1920, for death duty reasons. He bought it, and in 1920, April the 1st, he gave all his tenants notice, or else they could buy their own advantageously. He arranged for bank loans, legitimate ones. They could buy their own tenant at roughly 10 times their annual rent, which meant if you had a midway cottage, £25 a year, you were paying £2.10 a rate, £25. And ones would maybe be 40. My grandfather was put out. He was paying £1 a week for his small holding. It's 14 acres and the house, and he felt it should have been £500. But because the house was in very good condition and bigger than normal, he was charged £1,800. They wouldn't buy it. But my dad had started business then, and he said, "Look, Dad," because he was living at home, he said, "I'll buy it, and you live in it." And it's a home for his two sisters who were unmarried. And that's the way it eventually came to me. But roughly they paid 10 times their rent. And it was very favourable as that. And a lot of people became landowners, owners of their own property. A lot of others wouldn't. They said, "No, I'll find a landlord." The rest of the property was sold off as investment property. With a landlord, he had to do all repairs. And the wages they had then, there was a certain logic to all this. However, the ones that prospered were the one who bought. And the nice story there, Amos Story, are we all right for 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Amos Story, he was a big primitive Methodist organist, and he had 3 charming daughters and a son. About 1905, when Hunbury became a parish council, he got the contract for emptying all the toilets. There were earth closets and in pans, and he emptied on his cart and took them to the parish pit or wherever everybody wanted any manure. And he was paid in sovereigns, as was every month. When he had a chance to buy his farm, and when he went over to the agent, he planted, you won't know what a sack is, a corn sack, it's a small sack about that big, of sovereigns in his table, and nobody else had ever done that, they'd all, yes. And he bought it. It's quite a talking point. Amos Story, where did you get all that money? He said, "Look, I got that money from your shit." Excuse that, I said, "I don't swear." He said, "That's where I got it from." He said, "It's boy." And he didn't swear himself, it's a big printing method, but that was a word in quite common usage. But remember, they worked 40 yards a month, animal manure and all sorts of stuff. And he got quite it was quite a talking point. Because he was a man of his word, they knew what he said, and that was it. Because apparently him and his wife, because they had a farm, which was rather a small farm, but just ideal for one man, and a bit of labour. And he, they lived off the farm. They lived very, very frugally, as all primitive Methodists did.
Just wanted to ask you one quick question about this.
Yeah.
Are the spokes wooden or is it all cast?
Oh no, they were wooden spokes.
Right,
yeah.
but the outer rim
Yes, yeah.
was hooped.
Yes,
onto...
yes, a hoop.
Right.
Blacksmith.
I've got you.
Yeah. Yes. Oh yes, they were.
Can I ask you just one last question?
You can ask me anything you like.
Admiral Mitford.
As what?
Admiral Mitford.
Yeah.
He was interested in the Filey Harbour scheme. Do you know anything about his interest?
Only that it was maritime. He was a sea captain in his own right, promoted to Rear Admiral when he retired, and eventually to Vice Admiral. Anything like that interested him. And yes, he was. He would give it his full backing, and of course he had to do, because it was his land. Mm-hmm. Right, and he supported it to the full. It fell through like many others. I think it's the third one, wasn't it, the scheme that...
there was quite a lot, yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
And he also, because he owned the brig, he used that as a quarry, didn't he?
Yes. Humphrey Brook, of Lesson, he was, he had a brother-in-law who wanted some rock. So he said, right, come on man, I've got a lot up here. So they started breaking up the brig, only a top bit, not, and about 2 boat loads went away, and that's when the Filey people, you know, you're taking our breakwater away. And there was a court case, I think,
It went to Parliament in 1905.
That's what I'm getting at, yes, yes. And they stopped him. Yeah. Because he was the one who started it. And this, they found the outside of free stone if they could get it there, but it stopped before that. The last bit that I know of that, you know the pseudo gateway down Bridlington Street, which we call the Low Lodge. Yeah. Yes, you know that. Well, that is made of fairly big stone. And my grandfather, Ces Mowthorpe, as a boy, 10-year-old boy, helped to quarry it, to lead it up from there. And I think that was the last, that was taken from the brig for Hunmanby, right? Not given away to somebody in West Riding.
We'll have to stop there.
Yeah, thank you for sitting down with us today. And
Pardon?
Thank you for sitting down and sharing your memories with us today.
Well, I'm only too glad to.
Thank you.
Do look.
There's probably other things that we want to come back and ask you.
Yeah. Do look at the archives section.
I will do.
On hunmanby.com.